Let me tell you something. This video might make you uncomfortable because once you hear this, you won't be able to unsee it. If you've been feeling distant, irritated, even disconnected from people you once loved, don't click away. Watch this till the end. Because what you're experiencing isn't hate. It's awakening. Let me talk to you for a second. Because what you're feeling right now, it's confusing. You look around at people you used to laugh with, people you used to connect with so easily, and now something feels off. You can't quite explain it, but deep inside, it just doesn't sit right anymore. And you start asking yourself, why am I becoming like this? Why do I feel irritated, disconnected, even distant? But listen carefully. It's not that you dislike people. It's that you've started to see through the layers. You see, before this shift, before this awakening, you were operating on the surface, just like everyone else. Conversations didn't need depth. Energy didn't need to be aligned. You accepted things as they were because you didn't question them. But now you notice everything. You notice when someone is speaking without meaning what they say. You notice when a smile doesn't reach the eyes. You notice when someone's presence feels heavy, forced, unnatural. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's the part nobody warns you about, because awareness doesn't just elevate you. It exposes everything around you. Now, when someone talks just to impress, you feel it. When someone pretends to care, you sense the gap between their words and their energy. When conversations revolve around gossip, negativity, or shallow validation, it drains you instead of entertaining you. And you sit there thinking, how did I ever enjoy this? It's not arrogance, it's alignment. Your mind, your spirit, your awareness, they're no longer satisfied with what's fake. And that creates distance, not because you want to disconnect, but because your energy refuses to engage with what isn't real anymore. You start valuing silence over meaningless noise. You start choosing solitude over forced interaction. You start protecting your peace like it's something sacred, because now you understand something most people don't. Everything carries energy. Every word, every intention, every presence. And when your awareness sharpens, you become sensitive to all of it. That's why crowded rooms can feel lonely. That's why certain people exhaust you without saying much. That's why you walk away from conversations feeling heavier instead of lighter. It's not them changing overnight. It's you finally seeing clearly. And clarity, it creates separation. Because the truth is, most people are still playing roles, trying to fit in, trying to be accepted, trying to hide parts of themselves. But you're stepping out of that. You're no longer interested in pretending just to belong. And that's where the tension begins. Because when you stop playing along, the game becomes obvious. You can't laugh at jokes that don't align with you. You can't agree with opinions just to keep the peace. You can't sit in spaces that feel wrong to your core. So naturally, you pull back, not out of hate, not out of ego, but out of truth. And that truth makes you feel different. It makes you feel like you don't fit anymore, like you're on a different wavelength, like you're watching everything from the outside looking in. And sometimes that feeling is heavy because a part of you misses how easy it used to be. But what you're really missing isn't the people. It's the version of you that didn't see so much. Because once your awareness rises, you don't have the luxury of ignorance anymore. And that changes everything. Let me tell you something you might not be ready to hear. You didn't just change, your energy changed, and that shifts everything. Because people don't just connect through words, they connect through frequency, through presence, through something deeper than what's being said out loud. And when your energy elevates, when your awareness sharpens, when you start becoming more intentional with how you think, how you feel, and how you move, you stop vibrating at the same level as everyone else around you. That's when things start to feel different. You walk into the same rooms, but they don't feel the same. You sit with the same people, but the connection feels weaker. You hear the same conversations, but they don't land the same way anymore. And it confuses you because nothing on the outside looks like it changed, but everything on the inside did. You see, energy doesn't lie. You can fake words, you can fake behavior. You can even fake emotions for a moment, but you can't fake energy. And now, you're sensitive to it. You can feel when someone's intentions are off. You can sense when someone's presence doesn't align with your peace. You can pick up on tension, jealousy, insecurity, even when it's hidden behind a smile. And that awareness, it creates a silent distance because your spirit starts rejecting what your eyes used to accept. You begin to realize that not everyone is growing at the same pace as you. Not everyone is doing the inner work. Not everyone is willing to face themselves the way you have. And that's not judgment, that's reality. But here's where it gets difficult, because when your energy changes, people notice. They might not understand it, they might not be able to explain it, but they feel it. They feel that you're not as easily influenced anymore. They feel that you're not as available to entertain negativity. They feel that you're not reacting the way you used to. And that makes them uncomfortable because your growth, it holds up a mirror. It reflects what they're avoiding. It highlights what they're not ready to confront. And instead of rising with you, some people will resist you. They'll say things like, "You've changed." They'll say, "You're not the same anymore." They'll even try to pull you back into old habits, old conversations, old versions of yourself, not because they hate you, but because your evolution disrupts their comfort. And if you're not careful, you'll feel guilty for growing. You'll feel like you're leaving people behind. You'll feel like you're becoming distant on purpose. But listen closely. Growth is not something you apologize for. You're not responsible for shrinking yourself just to maintain connections that no longer align. Because the truth is, not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Some people were only there to meet the old version of you. Some people were only aligned with who you used to be. And when you evolve, the connection naturally weakens, not because it's broken, but because it's no longer in sync. And that's where you have to make a choice. Do you stay where it's comfortable, just to keep everyone around? Or do you honor who you're becoming, even if it means standing alone for a while? Because real alignment, real connection, real understanding, it doesn't require you to dim your light. It doesn't require you to explain your growth. It doesn't require you to hold on to people who can't meet you at your level anymore. And as your energy continues to rise, you'll notice something else. You won't have to chase people. You won't have to force conversations. You won't have to prove who you are, because the right energy recognizes itself. Let's be real for a moment. This part right here, this is the part nobody prepares you for. Because everyone talks about growth like it's beautiful, like it's empowering, like it's this peaceful journey where everything just falls into place. But they don't talk about the silence. They don't talk about the distance. They don't talk about the nights where you sit there staring at your phone, realizing there's nobody you actually feel like calling, because something has changed, not just around you, inside you. And now, the things that used to fill your time, they don't fulfill you anymore. The people you used to run to don't feel like home the way they used to. The conversations that once kept you engaged now feel empty halfway through, and you start to feel it. That space, that gap, that loneliness, and it hits different because it's not about being physically alone. It's about feeling like no one truly understands where you are anymore. You try to explain it, but the words don't come out right. You try to reconnect, but it feels forced. You try to go back to how things were, but you can't, because clarity changed you. You see things differently now. You feel things deeper now. You've become more aware, more intentional, more selective. And that awareness, it comes with a cost, because the more you understand yourself and the less you can tolerate what doesn't align with you. So you start pulling back, not in a dramatic way, not with anger, not with resentment, but quietly, subtly. You just stop showing up the same way. You stop engaging in things that drain you. You stop forcing connections that don't feel real. You stop pretending just to avoid being alone. And in that process, your world gets smaller. Fewer conversations, fewer people, fewer distractions. And at first, it feels like loss. It feels like you're losing connection, like you're drifting away from everyone, like somehow you ended up on a different path without realizing it. And there are moments where that feeling gets heavy. Moments where you question yourself. Is something wrong with me? Am I pushing people away? Why does this feel so isolating? But what you don't realize is this loneliness, it's not here to break you. It's here to build you. Because when everything external gets quiet, you're finally left with yourself. No noise, no distractions, no outside validation, just you and your thoughts. And that's where the real work begins. That's where you start understanding who you are without influence. That's where you start healing parts of yourself you used to ignore. That's where you start building a relationship with your own mind, your own energy, your own presence. And it's uncomfortable because most people aren't used to being alone with themselves. They fill their time with noise, with people, with distractions, just to avoid that silence. But you're facing it. You're sitting in it. You're growing through it. And that's why it feels so intense. Because transformation doesn't happen in crowds. It happens in isolation. It happens in those quiet moments where you're forced to reflect, to confront, to evolve, and slowly something starts to shift. That loneliness that once felt heavy starts to feel peaceful. That silence that once felt empty starts to feel powerful. You begin to enjoy your own company. You begin to trust your own thoughts. You begin to find clarity in your own presence. And without even realizing it, you stop chasing connection out of fear of being alone. You start choosing connection based on alignment, based on depth, based on truth, because now you understand something most people never do. Being alone is not the same as being lost. So now you understand this distance you feel, this shift in how you see people, this quiet separation that's been happening in your life. It's not random. It's not negativity. And it's definitely not you becoming a bad person. It's awareness. It's growth. It's the moment you stopped living on autopilot and started seeing life for what it really is. You don't dislike people. You've just stopped accepting what doesn't feel real. Your energy changed, and now you can't connect where there's no alignment. And yes, it got lonely, because clarity will always separate you before it elevates you. But here's what you need to hold on to. This phase you're in right now, it's not the end of connection. It's the filter. It's removing what's fake, forced, and temporary, so what's real can finally find you. Because the truth is, you were never meant to connect with everyone. You were meant to connect with the right ones. The ones who understand your silence, the ones who match your energy, the ones who don't require you to pretend, and until they arrive. This journey is about you, understanding yourself, trusting yourself, standing firm in who you're becoming. Because awakening isn't about losing people. It's about losing everything that was never truly aligned with you in the first place, and stepping into a version of yourself that no longer needs to chase, force, or fake anything just to feel like you belong.